Hello and welcome to the No Grow Scale podcast. I'm so excited to be introducing a new friend that's probably not someone that needs an introduction to many of you. It's Mark Loveys from Datagate. We had a great chat when we were at Channel Partners together back in March and just wanted to continue that conversation a little bit today. So, Mark, if you don't mind just doing a little introduction about yourself, and I want to learn about the Datagate story and your part of it. So, I'm looking forward to our chat today.
Great, thank you, Laura. Appreciate you inviting me here, and glad to be on the show. And so I'm the CEO of Datagate. I've been with the company for 9 years since it was first formed, and we focus on telecom billing for the managed service provider market. We're specialists in that area, and we have international coverage. We're throughout the United States and a whole lot of other countries as well around the world. So including Canada, UK, Australia, New Zealand. And we have a team sort of spread out locally as well in those regions, but probably I guess our largest market is in the United States. And obviously you and I met at the Channel Partners Conference in Orlando, where we're meeting with a lot of our customers there.
That's right. I don't think you call the U.S. home, but I sure see you in the U.S. a lot on LinkedIn. So it looks like you spend a lot of time here. If that's
yes, I do a lot of traveling. And we have guys in the US too. Our base there is in Jacksonville, Florida, and we also have.
That's great. Well, yes, definitely see a lot of you guys. Well, let's talk about how you got to Datagate. What drew you to Datagate? And honestly, a lot of us find ourselves in telecom through a course of different decisions we've made throughout our lives. So I'd love to just hear your story and what drew you to Datagate and the whole world of telecom billing, because it is quite a specific passion to have. So let's talk about that.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. I come from a background, I'm a software developer originally. I've always seemed to get involved in financial software, but more recently, over the last decade or two, I've been more in the telecom space. But what really drew the way that the computers have come over the last couple of decades, and what it's meant is now new opportunities where MSPs, the IT industry is getting into selling phone systems, and what's more, it's doing it very, very successfully. And what we saw when we started Datagate was that the MSPs were looking for billing solutions that could help them compete head on against the big telcos with functionality that, replicating those plans, but also integrate with the software that they use as MSPs. So typically they're running their businesses with products like ConnectWise and Autotask. So we thought there's an opportunity. The MSPs told us how they were frustrated about they couldn't find a solution that could integrate with what they already had, and the end result was they would be sending their customers two lots of invoices, one from their telecom system and one from their IT billing system, and that was confusing to everybody. So there was a really strong, compelling problem to solve, which we did, and we've done that by integrating with the software that MSPs use, such as ConnectWise and Halo PSA, Autotask, etc. So giving them a completely unified solution that they can build their telecom and IT services in one place, and we make it fully compliant with all the taxation and compliance of the telecom industry as well.
That's great.
So it's solving a problem.
I was going to say, I tell my children, see a need, meet a need. And it sounds like you guys at Datagate saw a need and you met a need. And that's always a great way to build a successful business. If there's a need to be met and you can figure out how to do it, then that's great. Every business has key turning points. Do you have any moments do you remember any moments early on that helped Datagate really find its direction and become what it is today? Any big aha moments or turning points that you recall that stand out from the beginning and early days?
Definitely. It was noticing that a lot of our early customers using Datagate were also using ConnectWise as a product. So we thought, let's investigate ConnectWise. My colleague and I went to the ConnectWise IT Nation event in Orlando in 2017. And we talked with around 200 MSPs approximately there at the conference, where we had a booth set up, and they all told us the same thing. They're waiting for a telecom billing product that would integrate with their PSA system, ConnectWise, and we suddenly saw that, well, there's a lot of demand here, and so we went back to our base and develop that solution. And furthermore, we also heard the message that the solution needs to handle the tax and compliance side of the telecom industry as well. And we partnered with a company called Walters Kluwer, CCH SureTax, and we came back to market with the full functioning system that integrated with Wise Manage, and it also had all the tax calculation side of things built into it.
So you took one more headache out of the mix for them, is what it sounds like, or having to figure out how to do the tax part as well and solve that problem too.
Exactly. So essentially what we're doing is taking the complicated subject of tax and compliance and making that easy, and also taking out the headaches of integrating with the software they're already using for IT billing, and just eliminating those obstacles to their businesses. So it was very, very popular. Our sales surged after that. We hit the right formula, and I think we were the first on the market to do that. We've seen competitors copy that strategy, but we've been leading the way in that area of the market.
So let's talk about MSPs and what separates the ones who make it and the ones who don't. It sounds like in your experience, you've interacted with a lot of MSPs. So I think that's safe to say, right?
Absolutely.
So what separates those that stay afloat and barely making it, and then ones who are really accelerating growth? What do you see in terms of a big differentiator?
Well, I think it's branding is very important, and automation and systems. The branding is build the brand as they grow. They do that by making sure that they're across all the areas of the customer relationship, including the telecom and the IT, becoming a trusted advisor, but an automation of systems so that not having to get troubled with problems in the back office when they're really wanting to focus on their customers and building the business forward. So automated solutions and building the brand so that they get the full relationship, telecom, IT, and the billing is all under their own brand, and they're not farming pieces off to other businesses and other brands. So It's building the relationship. Yeah.
I have a lot of those conversations with MSP clients of mine, and as a business owner, I'm trying to constantly figure out, I'm sure you are as well, it sounds like, how, as a CEO, how many more things can I do for my customer that takes one more thing off their plate, one less thing they have to worry about. And it sounds like for MSPs, doing the same for their customers makes the most sense, and it certainly can make them a lot stickier and their brand a lot stronger.
Absolutely. It's, I guess, building their reputation and brand as a trusted advisor to their customer. So, and I think some of the interplay we've seen between the telecom industry and the IT industry is they're now so intermixed and codependent that when a business's phone system goes down, the last thing they want is two different companies pointing at each other saying it's the other guy's fault. It's
right.
Whether it's the IT platform or the telecom platform, they really want one person, one entity to be held responsible to own the issue, and that is why MSPs are winning so much telecom business in the business space. It's businesses just they want it all managed by the same, and the MSP is the logical entity to go.
If they already trust you with their IT, and oftentimes I feel like you're leaving a lot on the table if you don't offer it, and you're also leaving an opportunity for your competition to swoop in and get the business, right?
Absolutely, and that's something we like to remind people too, that if you leave a part of the MSP relationship open, i.e. the telecom piece, somebody else comes in and they offer the telecom piece, and then the next thing you know, they're taking all the other pieces of the pie as well. So,
and you can say the same. I'm sure if our friend Jeff Zimmerman at AT&T were here, you could say the same about connectivity as well. I know that we've had that conversation several times. He's been on the podcast before too, and we've had that conversation several times. Just being that trusted resource, like you said.
Yeah, the single point of contact to go to for all things IT, connectivity, communications.
Right.
And so yeah, that's Jeff is a good friend of ours, good ally, and he's selling a high quality product on the AT&T platform. And it's amazing that a lot of the MSPs, of all different sizes, often don't realize that they can sell high quality services like that to their customers and take ownership of the whole relationship, the whole
That's right.
The whole pie.
That's right. I have a thought. I was just thinking about, as we're talking about how MSPs can offer more services, become stickier with their customers. Sometimes when it comes to like pricing, packaging, how they sell what they do, there are I see it, some missteps in that regard. Do you have an example from a billing standpoint of how maybe it's a customer that you've had before, but how you've seen a small change in billing make a really big impact? I know that it could certainly impact MSPs and other, telecom organizations in lots of ways, but do you have a good real world example of that you could share?
Absolutely. Well, just looking at one of the case studies of our very good customer, Focus IT, Harry Edwards, the CEO of that company, quote, "Focus IT's billing used to be manual and every month was a scramble. Automating the billing saved days of work from 2 to 3 days to less than 1 day. To be specific, and let them scale 4 times without growing the team." So that's scaling the business without having to keep hiring more people. And the change was a turning point, not just operationally, but for customer confidence too. And the customer confidence, when they go to being billed by their MSP, they should be seeing the same kind of invoice that they get from a very large provider, a big trusted name. And the MSP can produce the same types of plans, and that's I guess a monthly reminder, of where they're getting their services from. And we've seen a lot of cases where customers often rely on to get necessary information that they need in running their business. The format of invoicing, the quality invoicing, the reliability of invoicing, it all plays a part in painting that picture of a trusted provider.
That's right. Well, that's interesting that you talk about positioning them to scale, because it seems like you've probably seen a lot of your customers grow. We all always want our customers to grow. When they're choosing, hopefully you're consolidating a lot of the vendor choices they're having to make, but there are other vendors that they have to make choices for. So when they're selecting a partner or a vendor, or I like to call it partner, but some are true vendorships, right? Whether it's for billing or whatever it is, what advice would you give them when making choices that are that important for their business?
Well, it's very important to choose a vendor that can work with the various solutions that are available, to be part of an ecosystem, not to be a standalone island, so to speak. And so to do that, they need APIs, they need to have integrations, they need to show that their system works with the other solutions that are on the market. And so we see, some of the solutions, like I mentioned, ConnectWise and Halo PSA and QuickBooks, Xero, there's products out there that the vast majority of MSPs are using. They use them because they're known, trusted, and they're optimized for the industry. So when you're choosing out vendors, you need to make sure that you're not being ruled out of using some of the best products that are on the market. So that's one thing we aim to do with Datagate, is through our public API, through all our extensive list of integrations, we can work natively with all the most popular and top of the line products, but also for other products that are less known, we've got API integrations available. People can write their own integrations. We can work with some of the data sharing products. So yeah, I would say don't paint yourself into a corner. Make sure that the products you're working with are capable of working with the other products you want to work with.
That's good. That's very good advice. What do you feel like there are any trends or shifts that you see coming in billing and automation that you could share? You don't have to tell any trade secrets, but anything that you see coming that's going to really reshape the way MSPs operate and scale their businesses?
Yeah, it all comes down to AI and automation. So we're seeing in artificial intelligence lots of ways of examining data and finding mistakes or looking for trends. We also see automation. MSPs now want everything to be automatic wherever possible,
right?
Because that means that their business is like a money generating machine, and it doesn't require a ton of effort from staff. So staff can spend their time on more customer facing processes and driving the business forward rather than back office administrative tasks. So it's exciting. We're seeing a lot of connectivity between solutions. We're seeing a lot of automation, and we're seeing a lot of smarter solutions through AI.
That's great. Okay, final question. This is really great for people who might feel as though they've got a lot of systems and running a lot of different directions and need to do some consolidating. If you could give one key piece of advice to an MSP leader about how to connect or about connecting their billing operations to growth strategy, because a lot of times, you're not really you're thinking maybe sales and marketing automation to figure out how to grow, but it's not always top of mind. And a lot of times thinking about changing billing or modifying the way we do it also brings a lot of headache, right? Or thoughts of potentially pausing or disrupting business operations. You probably see it differently just because you know that you can do it without a whole lot of business disruption. But what's a good key piece of advice in terms of growth strategy and connecting billing operations to their actual growth strategy?
Right. So my first advice would be for MSPs to look to provide the full suite of products that MSPs offer, and that includes telecom and IT. Don't leave any piece unaddressed, because that's where your competitors get in. You can be the thought leader, the trusted advisor across all these areas, and there are a multitude of partners you can work with that will provide services you need in the background. But you should front it with your brand, because you build your brand all the time. And ultimately, I know MSP owners ultimately want to build their businesses up and one day sell them for a high valuation. So you need to maximize the top line revenue. And so to do that, get across all those bases. And I would say also choose solutions that integrate with other solutions that you want to use. Make sure that you're not painted into a corner, that you can automate. You want as much automation in your business as possible, so you're not wasting time and introducing errors, with people manually keying things. So it's an exciting time for MSPs, but I think MSPs have never been in a stronger position than they are now. There's so many services and so much demand for them. So really, in order to reach as much of that as possible, you need to automate as much as possible. Yeah. And solutions that will automate and integrate.
Yep. That's great. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for your time today. We always love talking to industry veterans and people who have a piece of the industry that it sounds like solving a lot of problems and running very successfully. I'm sure that I'll see you at the next show sometime soon. Thank you, Mark. And thank you for listening to the No Grow Scale podcast. Please feel free to subscribe to our YouTube to listen to Mark and other industry leaders talk about how they are making an impact for managed services providers. Thanks so much, Mark.
Thank you.